Essentially, statistics are individual numbers that we generate to summarize an entire set of numbers. And there are 4 separate statistics that this video explains. Let's look at a real situation where we would collect data so we can understand the statistics and how they might be useful. To begin with, you'll see some vocabulary from our previous learning related to data collection so that you can have a chance to revisit some of these important words. Let's say we have a population of students at a local high school. And then we select a sample of students from the population. And this sample has 6 students. The sample was surveyed about their height. So in this real example, there'll be 6 pieces of data, or 6 outcomes, and each one will be a measurement of height. Just before I show you the outcomes, and just before we move on to the purpose of this video on statistics, answer this revision question on types of data. Is height data categorical, discrete, or continuous? It isn't categorical data. It's definitely number data, but is it discrete or is it continuous? You know if it's continuous data because you've collected the results by measuring them. You've used a measurement instrument like a tape measure. You graph the results by placing them on a measurement scale with units. You know if it's discrete data because you've collected the results by counting them up. You've asked a question about how many. You graph the results on a frequency scale to show how many, using a dot plot or column graph. So, what type of data is height data? You've got it. It is continuous data. And here are the outcomes. A set of numbers. And here we are at the point of this video. We can use statistics to summarize a set of numbers. There are 4 ways of summarizing the data numerically. First, I'm going to tell you what they are. They're called mode, median, mean, and range. And now I'll teach you what each one is for. Back to our set of numbers. But first, I'm going to sort the data numerically. See what I've done? That's going to help you understand the statistics. Range. Range is the difference between the maximum and the minimum outcomes. It shows us how spread out the data is. Mode. Mode is the most common outcome. It tells us which result appears most frequently. Median. Median is the midpoint, when the outcomes are placed in ascending order. It's a way of seeing the data in 2 groups, the bottom half and top half. When you've got the midpoint, always exactly half your outcomes will lie behind the median and the other half of outcomes will lie ahead of the median. Last statistic, mean. Mean, also called the average, is a single number representing all outcomes. It is calculated using a formula, which involves adding the outcomes, then dividing the answer by the number of outcomes. Here there's 6. The mean takes into account the shortest heights and the tallest heights, and it's a single number representing all of them. So average is mean. Be careful using the word average in everyday language. It's crept into our everyday speak as a word that means something more approximate. You know, when you say something happens on average. Understand that the average is the mean. And so it's actually very precise. It's calculated from a formula, and it's a single number that represents all the rest.